Got muted.
I'm going to go ahead and mute myself, though.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, hi, Sue.
Hey there.
We're a little bit early here, but we're trying to, I've been putting information in the chat box to try to welcome people, and we're trying to make sure things are working. We had a little, my fellow coordinator and I are sharing a Zoom account, and it takes some effort to be sure that we don't kick each other out when we both log in. So we try to not both log in with the chapter account, but log in with our personal accounts, and it's easy to trip up on that. So she logged in a little while ago and kicked me out. So I'm sending her to the woodshed. I hope she'll be back shortly. I don't know. If not, maybe Zoom will let us both in on the same account, but I'm just afraid of what will happen if we do that. So anyway, well, Sue, are you a new chapter and a new coordinator?
Yeah, we just ratified a brand new chapter this week.
Whoa.
Very good.
Well, we were part of LA or Southern California. We had about, I think Jeffrey could probably give you the exact
1,300.
Okay, was it? Oh my gosh. Okay.
So you are a new chapter, but you're really not new to American Pilgrim.
No. Orange County is. So
okay.
I guess we went from Southern California. I didn't even realize it was up to 1,300. It was, let's see, Ventura, LA, 4 counties. So we were the last spinoff.
Hello, David Cook.
Hello.
You got your yellow shirt on. David,
Yeah.
if you are,
I like that.
Like that?
Yes,
David,
sir.
if you are really not receiving our messages, it
Oh, I
may
got
be,
it.
okay, I was just concerned that you may not be on the email list of local chapter coordinators.
Well, maybe not. I saw it on my Gmail. I saw it on Gmail, but somehow I didn't see it on my sbcglobal.net.
Okay. I'm struggling with all these email accounts. There's just
Oh, yeah, me
too many
too.
of them. But
Yeah.
I tell you, it was a huge help for me. Sharon, you may not know this, but as the coaches, we have another American Pilgrim's email account. So we've got 2, and they were both showing up with the same icon, the yellow and blue bridge. So then I'm getting confused about which one I'm in. But with Gene's help, we changed the icon on our coach's account, which helps a lot to keep me straight as to where I am.
What's your new icon? A whistle? For
Well,
coach?
that was my first idea, but somewhere we came up with, I think I searched on the internet and I found a shell. It's a graphic depiction, white shell with a red St. James cross in the middle of it. It's really quite cute. It came out looking really nice. So, but the whistle that was my first idea. But anyway.
Hey, Vince, I want to tell you that this week I was able to resubscribe one of my members.
Good. Then maybe my efforts weren't for naught.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
We had a subscription.
Right, Sharon?
We got an email this afternoon from a young woman who wanted to be on our list, and instead of saying, okay, I'll add you manually with just writing it in, I sent her the link and she signed up herself. So now we're learning how to do that.
Yeah.
Well, hello, David Drury. We don't know you, or I don't know you, but Southern Oregon. Okay. Yeah. Sue
Hi, Don.
and David Cook, maybe you could add your, and I need to add my name. You can just click on your name.
Yeah.
And
you can add where you're from. Yeah.
There's oh, thank you so much, Marty. You are so nice. I'm sorry I made you do that.
That's okay. It was, I had it to my, excuse me, guys, let me just clarify this. It went to my personal email. So I clicked on it through my personal email, thinking that that's how it would link. But
No, it
Yeah, but
doesn't
it
have
didn't-
anything to do with your email.
But see, the Zoom doesn't go to my, the Zoom invitation doesn't go to my personal Zoom. That's,
If you do what, because I have, I deal with 2 or 3 Zoom accounts, is that I have Zoom downloaded and I actually enter the meeting ID.
that's what I did.
Make sure that I'm in the correct account.
Right, that's what I
And
did.
then, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Well, I'm
Okay,
not,
I just thought it
Sharon-
would go that way.
Sharon,
So it's
maybe
okay,
I
it's
need-
good. Yeah, it's fine.
we'll get on to the group. Sharon, maybe I need to understand that more, but I would think the meeting ID is what meeting you're joining.
Yes.
But our
Yeah,
issue
but,
is,
it just,
our issue
I mean, if
is
you're
who
just,
you
you're
are.
taking the
Our
default.
issue is who you are when you're joining, and she and I were trying to join as the
Right.
same person. And
Yeah,
that
you
was
have to,
probably the problem. So,
It's more clear to yourself. You can choose which account you're in before you do the link.
well, I
So,
do
you know,
that, but
yeah.
and maybe there's an easier way, but I end up, I open up Zoom and I go to the switch account. So I log out of one and log back into the other. It's a bit tedious.
Yeah.
Well, hi there, Rachel. Okay. Well, and we're just chatting a little bit. We'll try to get the meeting more formally started in about 5 or 8 minutes here.
So since I'm not muted right now, I'll let you, I have to leave at 6:30, my time. So
That's an
You got an
hour. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Well, I've got a couple of notes in the chat box, and we've also asked you, if you look around the screen, folks, you'll notice that some people's names have both their chapter name. You can click on your name, and then you can edit what appears in that box. So, like David Drury is in Southern Oregon, and Sue is in Orange County. Don Shaw is in Mid-Atlantic. Marty Fry can edit her name. Maybe I could do it. I don't know, but
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. You have to right click on it.
so, all right. Okay, we'll see how this goes. We may have a nice small group tonight. Who knows? We got 12 so far. We had 42 last Thursday night, and it was a bit a challenge to
Right.
to make sure everybody had a chance, and we probably didn't do a very good
yeah, it was
job of-
nice that you had, it seemed like you had or on the Tuesday, the one that I was on, you had somebody watching the other pages.
That was Marty.
You know?
I didn't even realize
I
I
thought
needed
that
that,
was-
but she jumped right in and realized I was missing people, and so that was a big help. That was a big help.
Already on.
Hi there, Bev Mo.
Hi.
Welcome.
This
You
is-
may
Hi.
notice
this is the,
you may notice that people have their
um,
chapter name
not-
on their screen. If you click on your name box, you can edit your name to add your chapter, so we know where you are.
Hey,
Right
Bev,
click. You have to
Bev,
right
thank you
click.
for answering my question.
Oh, you're welcome, Sue. I'm glad you're on, Sue, because I'm going to show you up the one that I have. Can you see it?
Oh, okay.
First
Very
aid.
good. Okay, hello, David Combs.
Gentlemen,
All righty. We're getting the forum here pretty soon.
Can I say too that Pete
Project.
is a co-coordinator with
Ordered Our
Minneapolis
Lady
chapter?
Guadalupe. I'm sorry. What? Minneapolis chapter.
I wanted to say that Pete Bach is with me he's at his cabin in Wisconsin having too good a time than the rest of us, I'm pretty sure. Did you hear that, Pete? Yeah, Pete said he heard that. And so he can't get internet there, so he's on my phone, on speakerphone, so he can hear what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Well, Minneapolis, thank you so much for putting your chapter in, but now we've lost your name. You can have both in there. Would you put your name and your chapter?
Apparently, I need very detailed instructions. Okay, I will do that.
So just hover over it and right click. Hover over Minneapolis chapter and right click and it'll bring up a little box and it says rename.
Yeah, I was doing
And
that. It was
I didn't
taking
even-
me a bit.
I didn't even have to right click. I just.
Well, oh, I do. Well, good.
Hello, Gene. Welcome from Denver to Denver. Okay, Gene, you can edit your name so you can add Front Range, Denver Front Range, just in case anybody doesn't know. Thank you.
All right. Not likely.
Hey, Jane. Okay. Oh, okay. Now we're getting folks.
San Diego.
Hey there.
I'll probably wait a couple of minutes past 8:30, but not very long before we try to get formally started.
Sue in Orange County. Nice to see a face connected to the name.
Yes.
Hello, Philip Stearns and Ann Leonard and Blair.
there. Where's Blair from?
You'll
Kansas City,
notice-
Missouri.
We're gonna, you can click on your name that appears with your portrait. If you click on your name, you can edit to add your chapter, so we'll know where you are.
Bob in Orange County. I didn't see you down there in the corner. Likewise, nice to have a face.
Where's Blair from?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Here I come. Right after I shuffle off to Buffalo, right? I'm just doing this for my own benefit, so I know who people are.
Well, it's nice to know where you are and put a chapter with a name and a face.
Yeah.
Hi, Mile High. Are you must be with Denver Front Range. No? Yes? Okay.
Oh,
Joyce.
Joyce.
Joyce, you can rename yourself.
You're muted.
You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Maybe she doesn't want to speak. No chance with that.
Here. Hi there. I was reading your email.
Now, where is Joyce from?
Joyce is
Denver.
Colorado.
Denver? Okay. Pete's from where? Minneapolis. Okay, all right.
Hello, this is Philip Stearns. I'm from the Western Pennsylvania chapter.
Thank you for telling us that. Have you tried to edit your name block?
Pardon me. My name should be, you can see my name under my photo, hopefully.
Yes. And if you click on that box where your name is, there's a way to edit your name and add your Western Pennsylvania location behind your name. We'll try to remember where you are, but if you look around the screen, you'll see that several of the other folks have their chapter names written in.
John, hey.
Well,
Okay.
hello, John.
Yeah, I
John
think
is,
it's not
and-
letting me do it on my iPhone here, but
I don't see Philip's face on my screen.
It's a picture. It's just a picture.
it's just a photograph of me with some trees in the background. I've got a beard.
oh yeah, you don't see, I see Philip. Okay, well there's Susan Corwin from Atlanta.
Hi.
Hi.
Susan,
Guys, we're going to start in just a moment here. John, glad to see you tonight. If you notice that a lot of folks have their chapter name on their screen, if you click on your personal name, you can edit that text box to add Charlotte to it.
Will do. Thank you.
there's Martha.
There's Martha from Raleigh. Hi there, Martha. We are.
Hi, Martha. She's connecting.
Judy.
Hello.
Judy, where are you from?
Silicon Valley in California, San Francisco Bay Area.
Great.
There's Ann.
Well, we'll get ready to get started. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I don't want to just sit around and it's fun to chat, but everybody's time's valuable. So we're a couple minutes past. Okay. I did put a little bit of welcoming information in the chat box. You can open the chat box. I'm asking if you would mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Occasionally we have difficulty with background noise. So, but then when you're ready to speak, please unmute. And we've already been talking about clicking on your name, which appears in your portrait box. You can edit that box so we know where you're from. We would especially like to hear from chapters which are new or small or haven't been active for a long time. And hopefully we can respond to your challenges if you're facing challenges, or maybe everything's just going smoothly, but we'd like to connect you to other folks in this group. They're all fun to chat with, and there's lots of experience here. And if anyone here is really technically savvy or has deep experience in any particular area they're willing to share, it'd be wonderful if you'll offer yourself as a subject matter expert. You can put that information in the text chat box. There's other ways to share that with this broader group. You could do that on the Facebook page. But I know Sharon Fields and Susan Corwin have both offered themselves as MailChimp experts or resources. I don't want to overpromise, but it's really wonderful to have folks that have
I
things
have
that
to
they can
say,
share.
this past week, the coordinator, Facebook has been much more active. And that's really good.
Yes, I've noticed a lot more traffic there.
A lot more traffic, which is really a powerful use of that resource.
Yeah, and we had a really good group last week, and it looks like we've got a nice group tonight. And as I mentioned, we'd like to connect chapters together. I see many familiar faces as well as some I don't know. But those of you whom I don't know may notice that many of us on this screen have chatted before or met each other in person at various American Pilgrims events. So it's great to have a broad series of contacts and people you can call on for answers to your questions. One of the things we're fortunate of here in Charlotte is that we're close to 3 other active chapters. Raleigh, who's here, Martha Hayes. Atlanta, Susan Corwin. I don't see anyone tonight from Western North Carolina, Asheville, but we benefit a lot from having contacts there. We subscribe to their newsletters. That lets us know what our friends are doing, and it also gives us ideas about programs we might want to have or how we might want to conduct a hike. We also learn how they are utilizing MailChimp. Most of these chapters are more experienced than we are in Charlotte, so we've learned a lot by reading their newsletters. So with that said, I'll go down about 5 little questions I'll ask to help us get started. And then we'll invite you to offer your challenges or your great successes that you can tell us about. First, if we've got coordinators here who are relatively new, a year or so, or chapters that are new, would you let us know by waving your hands? Okay, David, Sue in orange, Joyce, anyone else? Okay, Deb Mo, we would particularly like to hear from you tonight and try to respond to your concerns if you have questions, and we would like to connect you with folks who may be near you, who can be your mentors or American Pilgrim buddies. I'm looking to see who's on another page here, okay? Who here has been to a national gathering? See a lot of hands. That's where we make friends. So there is not a regular national gathering this year. There may be an event, but the one that was intended for Asheville, Black Mountain, North Carolina, has been suspended or canceled for now. And I think the national organization is waiting for COVID to pan out and we can see what and when we can actually get back together again. But the national gatherings are a great place to learn new information and to make friends. Who here is providing a monthly or periodic, it might be quarterly, newsletters? Most people sending out a newsletter, not everyone. So I'll ask you in a moment what you do instead of that. What about people who are subscribing to newsletters from other chapters? As I mentioned, that's a good way to get information. Well, we want to hear what challenges you're facing and what is working very well for you. I know in Charlotte, we're finding this COVID time to be a real challenge. We started out with a lot of Zoom meetings and they've gone very well, but we're now finding we're being challenged to come up with interesting content for our Zoom gatherings, and we're beginning to look at opportunities to do outdoor in-person events in a safe manner. So let me just start with this question. Those of you who don't have a newsletter, do you have another way of communicating? And secondarily, if you don't have a newsletter, are you interested in assistance with MailChimp or some other technology? Oh, okay. Let's see. Raise your hand, and I may not see you, but if I don't see you and nobody's speaking, just jump in.
I think that was Ann Leonard. Okay, Bevmo.
Ann or Bev?
Ann and Bev both have their hands raised.
Okay, Bev, go ahead.
Okay, I've unmuted. We don't have a newsletter. I am brand new to the Minneapolis. Well, I'm not new to the chapter. I've been attending for probably 3 years, but I'm the new coordinator, and Pete and Jim will be stepping down at the end of the year. So this is a heck of a year to get my training, because it's really very little training at all because we're having very few events. I would need help in figuring out how to use MailChimp. We also post our events to a meetup site. So we maintain a meetup site for American Pilgrims on the Camino Minneapolis chapter. And we have discussion boards there where I can post things that I see coming in from either Ivor or different people. But when I look to see how many people look at it, hardly anybody looks at it. So I think a newsletter would be good, although this year, most of the news is wait and see.
Well,
So I would be interested in subscribing to other people's newsletters to see how they operate, but I don't know how to do that even.
Well, I can offer a couple of comments and maybe some others can provide more information. If you go to the American Pilgrims website, you can navigate to different chapters, and there's information about each chapter, and often on the chapter page, there is a link to the chapter Facebook and a link to sign up for the newsletter.
Oh, okay.
If there's not a link to sign up, but there's an email to the chapter, you can email the chapter and request and maybe get a response.
Okay. Okay.
For instance, if you should send an email to the chapter, we will send you a form, a return form by email that you can fill out and get on our email list. Are you using Facebook?
I just have started. I have joined the chapter thing or the coordinator group, and have just started using it today. Sue will notice that I just started being active today. The last month has been not difficult. actually great because I finally connected with family in different parts of the country. So people in Raleigh got a kid in Chapel Hill. Somebody signed on from San Francisco. I just got back from there last night at midnight. And if there's anybody from Baltimore, I got a kid there. and so I haven't been doing much in the last month. And I can't remember what the question was. I'm sorry.
Well,
But-
go ahead.
But we've done 2 Zoom meetings, and we have a membership of about 500, which Pete is on, so he could confirm whether it's true or not. But usually about 50 to 75 are pretty active. And the last 2 Zoom Tertulias we've had like 8 or 10, so not very much participation. Our best participation was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think 3 weeks ago now. We had our first together hike, distance hiking, and that I thought was pretty popular, and we've scheduled another one for August 13th.
Good. Okay. Well, we find in Charlotte that our Facebook group is helpful.
Yeah.
We communicate with each other that way, but our primary method of communicating is through email because we have participants who do not use Facebook. So we try to send everything out by email. And we used to use Google, but now we use MailChimp. And for me, it was a considerable effort in the beginning, but Marty has helped, and with her help, we both sort of climbed the curve a little ways, but there are other folks here who can help with that as well. Now, there was another person whose hand was up a moment ago. And-
Ann
That was me.
Okay,
Hi.
Ann, please, go ahead.
Hi. It's given me a great idea. It just occurs to me that we don't do a newsletter in the New York City chapter, but doing a newsletter would make compiling the reports really fast. Like all of the activities would be, written down, recorded quite easily to transfer to the report. So I'm going to talk with my co-coordinators about that. Honestly, the newsletters of 2020 would be really short. There's not much to say because so many of our activities are people must use public transportation to get to them, like for hikes, which most people are not and shouldn't, probably should not be doing right now. So it has been a quiet year, but I feel pretty confident with MailChimp, and I think I could figure out how to do the newsletter. We mostly use email through MailChimp to get to the 500 or so people on the list. And occasionally people who are participants in the chapter have forwarded me newsletters from chapters all over the world, which is kind of fun to read. So if you're interested in seeing what other chapters do, not just nationally, but internationally, that might be a fun thing to see.
Well, you have an even larger group than, not than anyone else, but certainly larger than we have in Charlotte. One of the issues we had when we used ordinary email was when we sent the messages out, we often forgot to use blind copy. So we were distributing everybody's email to everybody else, and folks were not comfortable with that. MailChimp solves that problem. MailChimp also lets you know who opens and how often. So it gives you a lot of valuable feedback.
There's another issue with ordinary email. The more names, the more addresses you have in the BCC field, as opposed to the to field, the more likely the message is to be tagged as spam. And MailChimp gets around that somehow, some magical way. They are tagged as being a legitimate bulk message. So that's a very important reason for using MailChimp after your list reaches about 100.
Okay. Yeah, we have about 300 on our list, and we get about 100, 125 open our messages. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer something to the two that don't do newsletters at this point. You don't have to, the newsletter doesn't have to just be a calendar of events. I mean, you can put all kinds of things in newsletters. It's just a nice communication tool that, especially in this time of COVID, that keeps the kind of the community communication going. I mean, you can put a story in there. We have one in our, one thing that we put in our newsletter this time is one of our members is involved in a furniture ministry, and we call that forwarding your Camino blessing. And so we put a little piece about that. So there's just little different things like that that you can put in there. And then we put a lot of pictures too. So that's just a thought.
There was another comment about doing the annual report. That sometimes feels a little tedious, but we simply do an attendance sheet for each time we have a gathering. And then that lets us know when we got together, what it was about and how many people were there. And for us, it's not too hard because we have anywhere from 15 to 25 or 30.
I'll tell you, I always cheated on all the hikes that I led. I would just send Dave a photograph.
Oh,
and he could count them up.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
okay. Well, yes. Does anybody else have something that? Yes.
Yeah. One of the things we do in Southern Oregon is we provide links to the updates on what's actually happening on the Camino. And for example, last month we also did a feature on films. What are the Camino-related films that you can get through Hoopla and Canopy at your local library? So it's encouraging people to go out and use the library, but at the same time showing them there's quite a bit of free Camino-related stuff out there at your library, and you don't even have to go to the library to access most of it. So I wrote up a piece and it was attached to the mail, and anybody could open it when they got the mail. So they got, we're trying to give them a present in each month's email.
Exactly. Very good.
Great, thanks for that. I was going to ask what's going well. I'll get back to Sharon in just a moment, but you put that information about movies and videos out. Did you have any meeting or Zoom meeting to discuss those films?
Well, another thing that I made that suggestion, so far, Terry, who most of you know, I think she's been a coordinator for a long time. Marcella, you may know, has just resigned from our group. And Terry and Marcella put out a survey about 6 weeks ago, asking all the members what they would like to do. And one of the things the members didn't show a lot of interest in was more Zoom meetings.
What can we say?
Yeah, exactly. Hikes were not surprisingly, hikes were the most popular thing. So yes, we did come up with the idea of discussing these Camino films. Right now we're holding off on, if this keeps dragging on month after month and the cold weather starts coming in, we may revise the idea, revisit it and try that.
Okay, Sharon and then Bev.
I wanted to get back to the ladies who, at least you, Bev, were concerned about MailChimp. If you guys, I'm in the Old Pueblo. You can find me at Old Pueblo at AmericanPilgrims.org, and we'll set up a meeting, and we'll set up a Zoom meeting, and I can go through. We can talk about MailChimp. Okay.
That's terrific. And if you have difficulty reaching Sharon or for some reason, if you send a note to the chapter coaches, and I only say that because you got the invite to this meeting from our email. So you could simply respond to that email if you have trouble finding someone else, and we can connect you with who you're trying to get in contact with.
We're trying to centralize, do functional. I was talking to Jean this week about, so I always think of Webmaster as Jean. Well, Jean is more than, and Webmaster is more than, yeah, we can do that. And the only thing is, Bev, is that I am headed off grid into New Mexico on the second week of August. So we'll have to set something up before then.
Okay.
Okay.
And Sue and Bill want to get in.
Okay, how about Bill?
Bill Arts.
No, sure. Bill. This is Bill Arts. Hello, everybody. Sharon, I just wanted to let everybody know that I did update our YouTube channel for the new MailChimp video. So it's out there, and based on your conversation with, I think, Barb or Carmen today, I updated it. So I'm happy to send along the link to the YouTube channel if people are interested in viewing that learning the basics on MailChimp.
The American Pilgrims on the Camino channel now contains all the MailChimp videos.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have
I
one
saw
MailChimp
that it
video.
was actually active and I was like going, somebody's working on
Yeah, it was me.
Well,
it. Thank you so much, sir.
So
Okay, let's
it's
hear
out
from
there,
Sue.
and if people just leave Sharon your email or whatever, I'm happy to follow up and send that to you so you can view it. So make it easy for you. I'll send the link out.
Okay, Bill, tell us again what you actually did, or either you could put a note in the chat box. You put
I
something.
can- I'm sorry, go ahead.
What did you do? You put something somewhere?
Well, we had, up until today, we had something that Yosmar had worked on. She created a tutorial on MailChimp. And I guess it's a little bit dated. So Sharon had been working on it. We've been considering how we're going to approach enhancing everybody's knowledge of MailChimp, because it is the most prevalent way that chapters use to communicate with participants and people that are going, are interested in and active in the chapter. So because we have a lot of wide-ranging ability along MailChimp, we were looking at how to enhance everybody's knowledge and give training. So one of the basic things that we're providing, particularly to new chapter coordinators, is that basic video. And then clearly we have people like Sharon who are happily volunteering and gladly appreciative of the fact that she's volunteering, offering personal type
Okay,
training.
Bill, you've made the video, but where and how can people find it?
I will put it on the chat before I leave. I'm fortunately not gonna be able to stay the whole meeting, but I just wanted to pop in and say hi.
Okay.
But I'm happy to, I'll copy the link and I'll put it out in the chat.
Super, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I volunteered to redo the videos that Yosmar did some time ago. And I looked at that and I looked out at the professionally created MailChimp tutorials online, and I knew I couldn't do better. And so in my conversations with Carmen, I said, I think it would be a better use of our resources if we point them to one of these professionally made podcasters. And at any particular gathering that we are at, I will explain to you how people make a living doing YouTubes. But anyway.
Okay, well that's great. So now we just need to understand how we can find that information. Now somebody must have had their hand up that we've missed for a while.
Sue in Orange County. Come on,
okay.
Sue.
Okay, so I was wondering, we have our inaugural hike this coming Saturday, and Jeff, who we spun off from the Southern California chapter, said that he literally sat on his computer on MailChimp because our hike sold out because of COVID within 2 hours or 3 hours. So he felt like he couldn't walk away from his computer. And I'm just wondering, is that how MailChimp is? Like, if you have to cap off at 20, is there a way for it to just stop at 20? Because the second half of my question is, has anyone tried SurveyMonkey? And I know from my experience as a mother of 4 with PTA groups, SurveyMonkey, you actually can put 20 lines and then that's it. So I'm almost thinking, I don't know, but it seems like SurveyMonkey might actually be more user-friendly for activities that you need to put a cap on. Has anybody used that?
We do RSVPs by email. That's how we've traditionally done it. We said you have to RSVP for this event. Our problem is that everybody knows our trailheads. So if I talk about a trail, I generally have if I have 5 people RSVP, 2 of them will show, but I'll get 5 that didn't RSVP because they know the trail. So, it's something I've got to deal with in the past, but we've always just requested email in the past. I know that there's many other chapters that do other things. We haven't used SurveyMonkey, but we are going to be using Google Forms here pretty soon.
SurveyMonkey costs money, though, I think.
I know we've got a free thing. I mean, MailChimp also has a survey.
Has anybody here used SurveyMonkey successfully for this application?
Let me,
Martha?
No, I have not used it for a sign up like that where I wanted to do a list, but we used to do an annual survey to see what people wanted as the topics and things like that. And we've used it. It's good because you can get your data collected real quickly. We use Google Forms now to sign up, and I haven't looked into that to see if there is a way that you can set a limit on that. There might be that you could do that.
Because it just seems like it would be easier to just say RSVP to the following email. The first 20 people get in. I mean, is that?
But
okay.
if you get 40 emails, somebody's got to tell the second 20 that they can't come. So
Right, but tell them that ahead of time. I mean, there's a time and date when it arrives. I mean, we're just because we have so many members already, and we had to cap it off at 20. We literally have like 10 people on the waiting list, or maybe more. I'm not sure.
Well, that's how Asheville did it. That's how Asheville did it.
How did they do it?
They said only 10 people would go on the hike. They all had to RSVP by a certain date and time. And those first 10 that got in, that was it. Because of the COVID thing, they had to do it that way.
Well, we all understand that, but I think Sue's looking for an automated way to manage that when you've got 20 slots and 50 people all at once trying to sign in. Nobody's got time to deal with those last 30 and get them down and let them know they can't sign in. Isn't that right? You want a way to control the sign up. So that seems to me to be a valid question. We're jealous. We don't have that problem in Charlotte, but we'll try to hold that question and see if we can find an answer. And Martha's checking on SurveyMonkey, Google Forms. Bev Mo.
Well, I think I said before, we have a Meetup account. Of course, we have to pay for that, so that's something different. But on Meetup, you have people on the wait list. So then as people who've signed up drop out, because people always drop out right before the hike, then the people that are on the wait list automatically come on, and everybody kind of knows how that works. Or I can change the limit if it looks like we've got too many people. And for our hike in July and what we're going to do in August is I have people that will stand in as leaders so we can break up into more groups. Because one thing we don't want to do is turn away people who really want to get together now because we want them to do it. So both Pete and Jim and I are very familiar with the hike at a particular park. So we set it for that park, and if we get too many, then we break up with different leadership groups that start a few minutes apart or go the other way. So I don't know if, Sue, you have other people who could, lead if you get too many people. It's really hard to turn people away who actually want to get together now.
Well,
that's what we do too.
First hike. It's our very first hike, so we're keeping it very simple this time. But we've got some provisional assistant leaders. Kind of, I know a few women that have expressed a willingness to lead hikes, so that's something we'll do for later hikes. But this very first hike, we kind of wanted to keep it very under control because it's our first time doing it. So,
yeah, Martha, did you have an answer to the sign-up question?
I just tried the Google Forms, and there's not a way to set a limit on how many responses you can get. So
Somebody check your chat box. Somebody put a link in there to a sign-up form. Check your chat box.
It's me. It's something called Sign Up Genius, and I've used it a lot. It works really well. You can just put in the date of an event and how many people you need. They use it for volunteer coordination, but you can use it for this kind of thing too. And you just say there's 10 slots, and the first 10 people to sign up get the slots, and then you can add in a wait list for people if they can be waitlisted, and it sends them automatic reminders when someone's signed up, and it's great. It's really easy to use, and it's free.
Does it cost anything?
Is that a paid subscription?
No, it's free.
Free. It's free.
They do advertising, so it's free.
Can you
incorporate that? Can you incorporate that into the MailChimp email?
Yeah, you do.
As RSVP goes?
You'd set it up in Sign Up Genius, and then you get a link, and you put the link into the email.
Into the MailChimp.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That's very good information. That sounds like Sue will respond to your question. We did not know how to do that. And again, we don't have the overflow issues, but we are beginning to plan some outdoor activities that we want to limit. And so that's a tool we'd like to learn how to use here in Charlotte.
Can I
yeah.
ask
Something-
a question
Okay.
about the chat box here? Is when the Zoom call is over, will that be available for me to go in and copy things from that?
I don't think it will be. It's my intent to you can copy, you can put your cursor down there and copy that information now. Following the meeting, it's my intent to capture that and then post it maybe on the Facebook page or distribute that back out to the group somehow.
Okay.
But I don't know that you can, I don't know
Okay.
that you can get it.
Yeah, down in down in the right corner, there's a little box with 3 dots. If you push that, it saves it to your hard drive.
Right.
And then when you
Oh.
go into your computer finder, you just say, look for chat, and it saves it.
Oh,
You
yeah,
see
I see that now. It says save chat. So
Yeah.
you
It
could
just
save
saves it onto your computer.
You could save it now and then you could save it later. I didn't even know that was here. Thank you very much. Okay, who's had their hand up? Yes, Elizabeth Crosby. Where are you located? Oop, you have to unmute.
Yes, hello, hi. I just want to say hi. I'm sorry I was late. I'm in Memphis and I'm the first coordinator of a very young chapter, so this has been a little awkward. We've done a few things, but things changed. And I just want to say hi. I was supposed to go to the gathering, which would have been my first gathering, but things in Memphis at least shut down like right then. And at literally the last minute, I had to cancel. And I was very sorry because it looked beautiful and I had been looking forward to it for a year. And I was supposed to hike the Camino this year with some friends. And anyway, we all have those stories, but I just want to say hi.
Elizabeth, do you have another coordinator helping you?
Yes, but it's mostly me.
Okay, well,
welcome aboard.
I'm part of a very strong team right now, but years ago I felt alone, and it was a slow start. But we hope we'll have more of these forum opportunities. Also use the Facebook coordinators group.
There's a coordinators group on Facebook?
To the,
Taking note.
yes, there is. Yes, there is. There's a Facebook group for coordinators. It has been quiet mostly, but every now and then a little activity pops up. And since we had our Zoom meeting last Thursday, there's been a lot of activity, both because of topics have come up, but I think also because people have met other people online and just feel a little more comfortable asking questions or reaching out. But there is a Facebook group for coordinators. You can send a note to chapter coaches, which is the source from which you got this email. There's only 5 of us or 6. We don't have all the answers, but we'll try to connect you with people who can assist. And keep in mind, there's 3 chapters over here in North Carolina and 1 down in Georgia. So
What's the coordinator Facebook page called?
Chapter coordinators.
Thank you. Yep. Okay.
And if you have difficulty finding it, send us a note to coaches and we can send you a link back.
Rachel just posted a chat.
Okay.
With that information.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There was someone else's, who had hand up? Was it Kathy Watkins?
Martha's got her hand up.
Oh,
Yeah, but that was my question, but I'm not finding it. I'm finding individual chapters.
Well, look into the chat box. I
I'll
think
find
someone has just posted the link into the chat box. And Martha Hayes had her hand up.
I just wanted to say something about the hike that you're having that's really large. You made a suggestion about breaking up into small groups. Sometimes we'll have 2 hikes of different lengths. One will just be 4 miles and one will be 7 miles. And so if you're able to break up in a small group like that, you might be able to accommodate more people too. And it just depends on your state. In North Carolina, we can't have more than 10 people in a group. And so what we do is we state all the information that the American Pilgrims gave about when you're hiking, and then included our state guidelines. And then we said when we meet up, if we need to break into smaller groups, we will. And so it's been helpful for us to get, if we get a larger group and 2 people are from the same house, we kind of count that as one person because it's okay for them to be closer together and that kind of thing. But just if you state everything at the beginning and they know what the deal is, so that when they get there, they're not thinking, oh, I have to go home, or this is too many people, or something like that. If they know you're going to break up into a small group, it might help.
Do you save your address until you, I mean, do you tell them where to meet only to the ones that actually RSVP'd?
Well, no, we put the whole description of where the hike is going to be. And then when they go to the Google form to sign up, it has the exact coordinates, you know, so people can find it on their GPS and everything. And then they have to, and we tell them they need to respond because we may have to cancel it the night before, and we want to be able to make sure we get in touch with them. We've only had a couple of times where somebody showed up who did not sign up ahead of time. So they've been pretty good about it. And I did want to say too, you guys were talking about sign-in sheets, especially when you have a hike. You want to make sure you have people sign in and a contact number, because last year in August, we had somebody who passed out at the very end of the hike, and he was a guest of somebody else. And fortunately, they knew how to get a hold of his wife and all that kind of stuff at the emergency room and everything. But we always make people sign up with their phone number ahead of time. And we thought we had done that with him, and he hadn't signed up his number, but he had his friends in the group. So, and I think that when you have them sign up, that's a way to make sure that they're covered by the American Pilgrims insurance.
Yes.
When they're on the trip.
Okay, so that's my first hike is Saturday, Martha. My anxiety level just went from here to.
No, the chapter coordinator page has, or the American Pilgrims sent out the guidelines.
Yeah.
So have you already done a form or some way for people to sign up?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
No, but just like that was, my daughter got stung by a bee in the pool yesterday, and she's 28, and it was bad, and she got dizzy and it started swelling, and I literally, in a way, it was a blessing because it literally made me think I gotta go get a first aid kit. I've got to my co-coordinator is Bob. He's here. His wife is a nurse, so I think she'll be covering it, but as a leader, I thought it's responsible for me to have a first aid kit. And
Good idea.
so I didn't even occur to me until my daughter got stung by a bee yesterday. So
That's true, but you have a real challenge. If you've got room for 10 or 20 or 30 people and 50 people show up, you can't start down the trail with 50 people. I don't know what you do with that, but you got to.
Well,
Good
we
luck.
told people, no, we've been turning people away because of COVID. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, no, they know not to come. And I mean, it's a free, it's a public trail. So if they show up later or, but we just have to trust that they'll obey the boundary. Who knows?
Okay, very good. Yes, Dave Combs.
Yeah, my only comment is relevant to the first aid kit. And I think it's appropriate to have one on with you when you do something like this, but we're not medically trained. So if someone gets hurt, they need some medication that you might have in the kit, hand them the kit. Just as we're trained as hospitaleros, when we're in an albergue taking care of pilgrims from all over the world, if somebody comes in and has blisters and has heat stroke and just give them the first aid kit and say, here you go, take care of yourself. Because then if something happens, it's them. I mean, you can care for them, but don't treat them, is all I'm saying.
That's good information. I did not even know that. Thank you for that, Dave. Okay, there's some hands up. I see Sandra from Tampa and then Anchorage, Alaska, Anchorage also, but Sandra.
Hi. What I was going to say is in our group, we, and I think everybody does this, is we have somebody that's leading the team, and then we have somebody that's bringing up the tail end of it. And so when we have those larger groups, or if we're going to be splitting up into multiple groups, we usually have somebody that's in the group that is walking with us that will volunteer to be the middle, so that if we're turning off on a certain path, they'll stay until everybody else gets through, and then they'll catch up to the middle of the group again, just to kind of help with those larger groups.
Great, thank you. And I'll get to Anchorage in a moment. I just noticed Jackie Saxon is here. She's a board member, so welcome, Jackie. Thank you for being with us tonight. You have any, just want to say hi or have a message from the board?
Well, I just want to say hi. I hope you can hear me. I'm just observing and taking notes, and just anything we can do to help support you all, we want to do that. So I'm just excited to be here. So thank you for that.
We're excited too, Jackie.
Okay, did Anchorage have your hand up as well? Now, are you Anchorage, Alaska?
Yeah. Sorry, I came in late. I'm Diane Moxness, so I'm one of the co-chairs of the Anchorage chapter. Really the Alaska chapter, because we don't have anybody else in Alaska. But I wanted to share what we did for St. James Day, our hike. Our coordinators and most of the people involved were not comfortable at all with the group hike. And so what we did, my husband and I hiked in early in the morning to a lake that was about 5 miles in, maybe about 2 hours in. And we set up a little, it's a Megamid tent, that's like a teepee, and brought our camp stove and some instant coffee. And we just set up a little cafe con leche shop at the lake and invited all of our, anybody who wanted to hike in on their own. And so over the course of 4 hours we were there, and we probably had about 15 people show up, which was a pretty good because it was dumping rain and 40-mile-an-hour winds. But it allowed, people loved it, because when we got there, you know, there was enough room to socially distance. We picked a hike that was on an old road, so it's very popular. It's a road over a pass, but it's now just a hiking trail over a pass. So it's easy to find. I put a GPS or a topo map in our email that's sent out to the chapter members, and then asked people to RSVP that they were coming. So I said, I want to know how many cinnamon rolls to make. So I made like 20 cinnamon rolls. And it was a great time. People, you know, people were all full out rain gear, and, you know, they stood around for maybe 15 minutes, talked about their Camino experiences with everybody. But it was a way to have a group hike without having a mass of people, because, you know, walking down the trails up here, we see groups of 5-10 people, and it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I didn't want to be part of that problem. But this way, anyway, it was something to consider if you have a hike where you don't have to worry about people getting lost, or everybody's coming and going on their own, but they're part of the experience. And I found some yellow chalk, and I put yellow arrows down the trail.
I think you posted your pictures from your hike.
Yeah, they were great. That was a great idea.
Yeah.
Plan A was that my husband and I were going to go out there Friday night, camp out, and be there early in the morning. And we got to the parking lot to start our hike on Friday night, and the wind was blowing like 50 miles an hour, and it's just raining sideways. And we're like, you know, we have a perfectly good house. We'll just get up early and do this. But anyway, it's something for people to consider. And everybody that signed up, that said they were coming, came. And a couple of them brought a partner, but there were just groups of 2 coming. So.
Well, that's great. That sounds like one way to address an issue if you have narrow trails. If the trails are wide, maybe you can keep social distancing, but if you have narrow trails, letting people walk on their own, starting at different times, that's a good way to address that. I think I see a hand up there, Jana Hexter at Finger Lakes, New York.
Linda Smith's also trying to get in, Vince.
Okay, Jana, do you have your hand up?
I do. Okay, I'm not muted. So I just wanted to say hi and introduce myself. So my friend Nancy and I started a Camino chapter last summer. So we had our first few meetings, and we had some fun get-togethers over the winter. And then we just had our first hike together. But I think we're kind of in the same boat as Elizabeth Crosby. We're new. We've got 50 people on our list, which we're ecstatic about. And Elizabeth Meetup has worked really well. We get more people coming through Meetup than through anything else. And even though we have to pay for it. So I just sent an email to the chapter's coordinators, because it would be great to, I've actually just learned a lot just from being on this call of things that we didn't know. I'm like, oh, right. Sign up for other people's newsletters. I could see other people's stuff. It would be great. Look at their ideas. And
Janet, thank you. Where do you live?
We're in upstate New York. We're officially the Finger Lakes. And
beautiful to hike.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And one of the challenges is it's a big area, it's so, and we have people from Syracuse and Rochester and Binghamton, which is, it's an hour and a half between each one. So it makes it a big area. So, but yeah, so I would, I don't know if it's possible to offer this more often. So I can listen to what other people are doing and getting ideas. And we haven't done anything Zoom related because I think we just have too small a group. And I just figured people were zoomed out. I'm zoomed out.
Well, I'll get to who else may have their hand up in a moment. But if you're a new, smaller group, we're not a big group here in Charlotte, but our mailing list is about 300 and we get about 100 opens. But for a meeting, anywhere from 15 is a good group, 25 or 30 is a big group. But one of the ways that we grew was to have a Facebook page. That helped. We also realized after about 1.5 years that if we provided to the public community an informational program about the Camino, and for us, the format that worked was at the REI store in our community, they will publish that on their website and 30 or 40 people will show up, and that's the way people find us, and that's the way our mailing list grows. So
We do that too.
That has been very effective for us. Of course, we don't know how that's going to happen next year, whether we're going to be able to do that or not. And when we put our presentation together, it's not very long. Ours is about 35 minutes. Some other chapters have a series of several events, but we got help from other chapters. We found Camino 101 presentations that other chapters were giving, and they shared them with us, and we use that to get started on it. So that's my little piece on that. Let's see, Sandra in Tampa, is your hand down or are you still waiting?
Don't forget about Linda Smith.
Linda Smith. Okay, let's go to Linda Smith.
And Sandra was muted, so you didn't come in soon enough.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I forgot to put the hand down. We're good.
Okay, so Linda Smith. I'm looking my screen. Where's Linda?
She's out
There
west.
you go. Well, I'm trying to call on you. Go ahead.
Well, I'm waving so you can see me in the masses. We have a challenge in that we have 771 subscribers to our MailChimp emails. And Rachel, I don't know how many do we have on Facebook. So it's a challenge because we will get, non-COVID times, 70 people to a walk, and other events we might have 100, so it's been a challenge during COVID times.
You might be big enough to break up into 2 chapters. I don't know, or I don't know.
It'd be hard to do. It's a good thought, Vince, but I think it would be hard to do because we have some people from Salem, some people from Vancouver, BC, or Vancouver, Washington. We used to have people who came from Southern Oregon up to our events, and so fortunately they have their own group now, but I don't think it would work to divide it up, but we're still challenged to figure out what we can do and not be exclusive. It's like snooze, you lose if you don't sign up soon enough, and so it feels uncomfortable to do that.
Okay, well, I'll go to Linnea in just a moment, but one of the things that's apparent is that we have chapters of widely differing size. Small chapters that struggle to get 10 or 12 people together, and other chapters that have 70 or 100. So we're facing different challenges, but hopefully this forum is still useful in sharing information. Let's see, Linnea, please go ahead. You need to unmute and remind me where you're located, Linnea.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I got in late too. I'm sorry. I'm Linnea from Albuquerque. And we really hadn't done anything all summer long. We've been waiting for this to be over. And so for St. James Day, it was just a week ahead of time, I put out a notice that we would do a St. James Day hike, but each person would do it on their own. We had a Zoom meeting. It was the first time I'd ever hosted a Zoom meeting. We had one on Friday night, and anybody interested could come and tell about what they thought they might do and what they might have prayer intentions and meditations to walk the next day. And it was really great because it was wonderful to just see people. And we had maybe 6, 7, 8 people on Friday night. And then on Saturday night, everybody came back and told about where they had walked. And some people sent me pictures. So I posted another MailChimp account with pictures. I also asked if people wanted to read a prayer or a poem or something. And 3 people volunteered and read wonderful things on Friday night. So that was a really easy, nice way to do it. And we're probably going to have more Zoom meetings like that. I proposed a book discussion group, and I've got about 4 people that have signed up so far to discuss a book in late August. So that was, it was just nice to see everybody come together afterward and before. And nobody was responsible for leading a hike.
Well, that's an interesting way to do a hike and share about it. Let's see, David Jury, did you have your hand up? Please go ahead.
Another thing that we're doing for the first time this year, a form of outreach by having a course at the Osher Lifelong Learning Center. How many have OLLI setups in their towns? Well, we're having a 4-session course on the Camino, about St. James and the history of the Camino and walking it, and the Roman and Celtic Caminos beforehand. So we figured that would get some people interested in the history and background of it, even if they're not able to hike right now, and including new people who are vaguely interested. And of course, we'll urge them to join the club if they want to continue on with this.
Okay, now how are you getting ready to do that now during COVID? How are you going to do that program?
The Southern Oregon OLLI, which is basically an extension university. It's done as an adjunct in our area to Southern Oregon. And they've decided to go entirely by Zoom. It's distant learning this time. But normally, of course, we would have classes in-house in person.
So have you done one of these Zoom events yet, or they are planned?
The course is going to be in this fall. We're just starting it. I'm just preparing it right now. We've done history talks before, but of course in person until now.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm particularly interested because we don't have as elaborate a presentation as you do, but we would like to get in front of REI groups again, and we want to approach REI and ask them if we can do a virtual Zoom type meeting with our Camino 101. Sharon, did you have a hand up?
You're muted.
Unmute. Are you leaving?
Gotta go.
Oh yeah, she had to go. Okay, goodbye, and thank you for being here. Great to see you.
Hi, Sharon.
Okay, Jana.
It's Yana. I actually, my fellow coordinator, she has a doctorate in medieval history, and before COVID happens, we were planning on doing a presentation. She was going to do a presentation about the history of pilgrimages, and she was also talking about writing something up about the traditional ways of doing pilgrimage and hermitage. And with COVID, she's like, we're practicing the hermitage, and I just thought it would be fascinating. But I'm also just realizing that there's an opportunity here with Zoom for us to share those kind of resources that, she would have done the presentation to our little group of 30 people maybe, or 40 people, but maybe we can, there's an opportunity here for us to coordinate where we have someone with a particular talent in that way that we could offer it through all the chapters as national programming.
I think that's a tremendous idea. As Dave Combs would remember, and Sharon as well, there was a little bit of discussion about that between our group and the board recently with no anyway, we talked about the idea of, can the national organization come up with some good programs to share across Zoom chapters, because that's one of our struggles right now. We've had a lot of success with Zoom, but now everybody's sort of getting tired of talking to each other, and we need to be much more deliberate and creative about coming up with good content for our gatherings. And what you mentioned sounds really fascinating. If you haven't been to a national gathering, there are really high caliber speakers there that share their scholarly knowledge as well as their experiences from the trail. So we're hoping that maybe National can reach out to some of their regular speakers and find a way to share those.
Vince, John Kennedy's trying to get in.
Okay, I'll get to John in just a minute. So Jonna, thank you very much. Please, when you get that mature, let the rest of us know. We'd love to hear that. Okay, John, sorry to miss.
I was just going to echo Vince's comment that it would be fantastic to get more information around kind of the comparison around Hermitage and pilgrimage, because it really resonates right now for people that want to do the pilgrimage, but we're stuck in the Hermitage, right? So that would be very, very helpful to get that information. I think it would be important information for our, the members of our chapter as well. So thank you.
Hey Vince, I'll just can I tell you about the Hoosier chapter? What we do here?
Yes, but I think after you we'll have Joyce and Diane both had hands up. So yes, go ahead, David.
Okay, in Indianapolis here we have the first Monday hike. It's always at our local state park called the Fort Benjamin Harrison State Park. And it's led by Nancy. She just says, let's have a hike every month. And I'll just lead it, and we'll just do the same thing. There are various paths through the state park. And so Nancy just takes care of that. And we have a second Tuesday coffee by Zoom now. We used to meet at various coffee shops, but now we're just doing Zoom, and we probably have anywhere from 12 to 15 show up at that, the second Tuesday, and we also meet the fourth Thursday. So everybody in Hoosiers on the Camino know about this, the first Monday hike, the second Tuesday coffee, the fourth Thursday coffee. And that's what we've been doing. And for St. James, we met at an art center that had a sheltered area. 20 people met. We brought, it was a BYOE, bring your own eats or drinks or everything. Bring your own everything. That's the way, that's the way I advertised it. So, and we were socially distanced, and everybody had a good time, and it was really wonderful to have that, sort of semi-close contact, and we got to see people that we hadn't seen for a while. So that's what we've been doing in Indianapolis. That's
right.
Nice.
Okay, Joy.
Well, let me say one other thing. Yeah, at the national gathering, our musical entertainment was Dan Mullins, and Dan Mullins has about over 160 podcasts. It's called Dan Mullins Camino Podcast. And I just this afternoon, I listened to his interview of our own Ronnie Jackson Kerr. She's the coordinator in Tulsa. A wonderful 54-minute conversation with Ronnie Kerr. It was just really, it was such a treat. So I can recommend the or the Dan Mullins podcasts. So there it is.
Great. Dan has interviewed several others he met at the Lake Tahoe gathering.
Yeah.
Okay, who else had their hand up? Was it Joyce waiting?
Joy and Ann.
Okay, go ahead, Joyce. Unmute.
Wanted to mention another thing that I had done that was met with with enthusiasm, if you could say that.
Yeah, you can say that.
Well, it had to do with the disappointment, though. Someone earlier had mentioned, I think it was Elizabeth, before she went, that that she had planned to go on a Camino, and I didn't get to go, and I was kind of the same way, and so we had a session that was specifically for people who were first timers, who had planned to go on the Camino this year, but because of COVID could not. And so we had a simple session called Walking Through Disappointment. And so it was specifically for people who were grieving. And so we had a group of about 10 from our area who basically said, I just need to talk. I said enthusiasm, I don't know, but it was met well. And so what we did is we talked about why, what our intentions were, and it also created some bonding within our community because some of the people hadn't been very connected with our chapter. And so by sharing their stories, we got to know each other better and to realize that, you know what, you've got a community of people who share a common thing. We share disappointment, but we also share hope. And some of those people have really gotten involved in our local chapter because they just felt like there is a place that cares for me and understands.
Well, was your discussion sort of open, letting people just say what was on their mind, or did you have sort of some guiding questions like what was your reasons for the Camino, what's your particular disappointment, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it really was like that. I started out by just sharing my own disappointments, because every Camino I've been a part of, all 3 experiences have been postponed. So I just kind of started that out with kind of shaping that very briefly, and then invited people, because we had a small group, to say, who are you? Where were you planning to go? Anything else that went with that. And then I had some guiding questions, but it turns out that most people were able to just freely and gently talk to each other. This is where I plan to go. This is what I'd hope to accomplish. These were my intentions. This is why I'm disappointed. Because I asked, where everybody's disappointment is different. So where is your disappointment coming from? That we might support you.
Thanks for expanding on that. Now, who else's hand was it? Dan's hand up, or was it?
Ann.
Okay, Ann. I also see Diane from Anchorage. Okay, Diane or Ann?
I'll go ahead. So I like the idea of, a lot of chapters sounds like they're doing Zoom things, and you can record them, of maybe getting the national office to have kind of a library of Zoom topics or whatever that we could all link to in our newsletters that we send out, or monthly. We send out a monthly email to, we have about 400 people on our mailing list. And I do the newsletters, and I'm always racking my brains on something to say other than an announcement of our meeting. So what we did before, back in the good old days, we had a monthly meeting at REI, and every other month we do a Camino 101. And then on the off months, we'd have a presentation on either a pilgrimage someplace else, or a specific route, or the Portuguese route, or the Primitivo, or walking a pilgrimage in Japan, or I've done a lot of talks on walking in the UK. And, you know, we let REI publicize it. And we get, I think the biggest group that REI has is always our group. And so that's how we get new members. But one of our most popular talks is we do a tapas and gear. So everybody brings tapas, and we have, I get about 4 or 5 people set up tables with the gear that they bring to walk the Camino, or we had a couple people had done the AT or the Pacific Crest Trail. And it's just so like everybody mingles and talks about gear, because everybody loves to talk about gear. So I've been kicking around this idea of a Zoom call where we get like 4 people and we do the Great Camino Equipment Debate, and sort of like rain gear versus, you know, raincoat versus poncho, or, you know, hiking sandals versus hiking shoes, and just have a sort of a presentation on Zoom, but then save it, record it and save it, that people can go back and look at it. So, but it would be great if the national office could make a library so we could see each other's presentations.
I think they'll be open to having a place for such a library, but there's nobody to do that work. So from our broad group, if we can come up with the content and come up with people who can help make it happen, I think they will cooperate.
But we just need somebody, their web person, to make it, you know, like make a space, and we could just send them our links. But we can't make that happen on their website.
That's correct. Gene,
that-
Gene can do that part, I think. But again, we've got to do most of the content and the curating and all that stuff. Gene, you want to step in here?
I will bow out of that. There really are no coordinator resources on the website anymore. It's all in Google Drive. So you need to talk to you guys, the chapter coaches. So
Okay.
I shed responsibility.
But can I ask why not? Because it would be something that might be interested not just to the chapters, but to individual members. It's like, look on the site, it's like, oh, here's a video on, you know, walking the Camino, walking this. And I mean, it's not just a resource for the coordinators, but a resource for all of the members.
Yeah, the latter point is an interesting one. But as far as coordinator resources are concerned, that has been shipped out. So, I mean, you're talking about 2 different things, and I see that.
So we just need maybe another place for that. Not the website, but another place. And
how many people on the website have wandered into the resources tab on the menu bar? I see about a quarter of you raise your hand. You really should get in there and see what there is. You might be shocked.
Also, to the question about videos, the Raleigh group maintains a really good resources page as well. And they have a link to that page in their newsletter. And if you open that link, there's several dozen links on that page that open people's blogs, people's writings, and I think there's some videos in there too, Martha. Are there some videos in it? So there's a way we can do this without having to do the website, I think. But it'll require some folks coming up with stuff, and maybe the coordinators figuring out how to manage it. But maybe it's just a matter of coming up with a page with links. And I think the page, Martha, the page probably resides in Google Drive somewhere.
Yeah, it's in our Google Drive, and we can just go in and change it at any time. And then whenever you link to it, you're going to get whatever the most recent information is to it. But I think while we've been sitting here, I've been trying to figure out where it is. But I think American Pilgrims had guidelines about whether you were supposed to record Zoom meetings or not.
Oh.
There was something about privacy or something. So if you go back and look in one of those notices that came from the American Pilgrims, I think you'll see that where it gives you guidelines for how to do your Zoom meetings.
Okay, we
Okay.
can look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who else has got a
Well,
question?
I was going to just say one thing about if anybody with some of the newer chapters, if they're looking for programs, we had a couple of months ago, we had this lady, her name is, I think I mentioned it last time, Gigi Tree, Guyleen Gigi Tree. And she wrote this book, and I saw it on Facebook, you know, on the American Pilgrims Facebook page. And so we invited her to come and speak, and she's a hoot. I mean, she is a major hoot, and she would do a real good little presentation for you. So y'all can all reach out to her if y'all want to have somebody, you know, talk at your for a presentation for one of your meetings. But it's a real interesting book. It's about her experiences on the Camino, and but she's a real cute gal and very interesting. It was a good little meeting.
It was a good meeting, but I think maybe the biggest thing was it was somebody new with new ideas and new experiences and new perspective.
Exactly.
Instead of the same thing that had come from our same group of people. So anybody who's experienced and articulate probably could play that same role. Okay, we're starting to run down on time. I'm good for another 15 to 20 minutes here. But I know we got some folks
Bev?
today.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much. I have to sign off now. But this has really been helpful, and I think more of these would be helpful for new coordinators. We're not a new chapter, but I'm a new coordinator. And so it really is helpful to hear all this stuff, and I will do a better job of finding the information that's available that I haven't paid attention to. And how do you get that? How do you get that flag on there without raising your hand? Oh, there. See, somebody just put it down. You're not a flag, but the thumbs up.
Reactions down at the bottom.
Oh, reactions. Okay, so I need a lot of work of technology.
Well, there's been a lot of interest in these Zoom meetings, and it's our intent to do them again. But we want to be creative and figure out how to approach the next one. These first two open forum, and so I'm hoping to get some feedback from the other folks on the coaching team that'll help us figure out what to do next that will be useful. And it might be about MailChimp, it might be new chapters, it might be big chapters, it might be small chapters. I don't know what it should be, but we need to try to be thoughtful about how to do this next. But one of the big things we want to do is build those connections between chapters. So, okay, who else has got a question or a hand up, or are we all ready to go have a beer? Linnea. Oh, yeah.
She's got a hand up. You're muted.
I'm gonna go. Bye-bye. This is great.
Bye, Linnea.
Okay.
Hey, Joyce, it's Marty, your old roommate.
Well, who else has got something to share or a question or concern?
Oh, well,
or something that's
maybe
going
I
really well.
should-
We've heard a lot of information. Let me hit John and we'll come back to David Cook. John, Charlotte.
So two things. First, I'm new on the Charlotte chapter, and I'm kind of like towards the edge of the bench where it's like, hey, you want to come in and play a little bit? So I'm still learning that part, but it feels good to be on the bench. And this meeting tonight has been a real learning experience. It's kind of, encouraged me about the possibilities of what we can do and continue to do in our chapter. So thank you all. I've got to sign off. That was why I jumped in, but thank you all. It's been a great night. Thank you.
Bye,
Okay,
John.
well, it's certainly been a joy to have John on our team. He's
Yeah,
brought
we love John.
New ideas,
John's
and we have a beautiful chapter patch now. We're going to have to start trading patches among chapters, and I know we can get 2 other patches for our one. Anyway, okay. Good night, John.
Bye, John. See you Thursday.
See you, John. Oh, I wanted to I should have mentioned earlier that about the, in about a year, depending on how things go with the virus, the chapter up at Notre Dame, the Northern Indiana chapter or Southern Michigan, we're going to have we are planning a regional gathering that weekend of St. James Day, the St. James Feast. So it'll be similar to the national gathering. It will be open to everybody. You don't have to be a member of American Pilgrims. And we are arranging all kinds of entertainment, programs, hikes, public. So there's going to be a segment of public service associated with it. And so just watch for information coming in the future.
Well, that sounds exciting, but how are you going to make this happen? Are you going to have COVID testing every day or what?
Well, it depends on what we have. This is on the campus of St. Mary's College, which is at Notre Dame, Indiana. That's the ladies' facility there. And we have that reserved for that weekend and the following year. So if it doesn't take place in 2021, it'll take place in 2022. So it just depends on how this thing goes. So we're hoping it goes.
We got that. Okay. Any final questions or comments? Thank you all for participation tonight. And don't forget, if you want the chat box, there's a way to copy that right now. You just go to the bottom of the chat box and punch on those 3 little dots and you get a saved chat. So that's.
I didn't see that.
It's really faint. It's very faint. You might have to move your screen.
You might have to move the chat box around so the entire box is on your screen and then look down at the right-hand corner.
Oh, I see. Make it big. Maximize it. Oh.
And it doesn't give you an option of where to save it.
Oh, so now I'm not going to be able to find it.
Well, no, when you do it, then it says there's a link that says something about find and fold. Anyway, there's a link that will take you to where it is.
Well, when I looked it up, it was right in my computer under documents.
Or maybe under.
It ended up going on mine, documents, Zoom, and then the name of it. But I was kind of expecting it to come up and go, like when you save something.
Where do you want it, right? No.
Yeah, Zoom isn't, and sometimes it's funny because Zoom sometimes like the hand, like the raised hand, I can't ever get my raised hand to come up. I mean, it's kind of intermittent in some things. Like
like that?
Like my raised hand, it won't show up. Like the participants, you put your little, there's a little symbol there for raised hand, but it doesn't show on the screen.
I can't get mine.
Reactions.
This isn't reactions. This is under participants, and it's a raised hand.
Let's see. I see.
It won't work.
I see a message. There's 2 raised hands, but I see
I
Rachel, and I don't see the other one. Oh, there it is, Diane. Do you want to get on, Rachel?
So raised.
No, I'm just playing with it.
Yeah, is different than reactions. Where there's
reactions
hands.
and raised hands are different.
Yeah.
But raised hand is under participants.
Yeah, I see raised hands, but I'm clicking it, but I don't see it.
No, it doesn't work. Mine doesn't work either.
It just comes up next to your participant name.
Oh, but that doesn't help anybody for people to
David, your hand is up. I can see your raised hand.
Oh, okay. I guess I just can't see it.
You have to open up the participant box and leave the box open, and then you can see who has their hand up.
Oh, okay.
That's
the reactions show up on the screen. So
Yeah, David Cook is still showing.
Oh, that's well, I'm running out of screen space. But that's another way, instead of having to scan visually.
So is my hand still up?
Oh, that is a good idea. That's a real good idea.
I don't see it.
It's on the participant list, David Cook. Look at the participant list.
Yeah, I opened the participant list.
Oh, yeah, I see it. That's not
a
very
good
big.
idea.
It's a
I
little
thought it was
it's-
supposed to be on the screen.
Yeah, that's what
Mine
I
was
thought.
on the screen too, for myself.
It's on the screen. You just can't see your own hand, apparently.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Well, thanks to everybody.
Okay, bye, y'all. Good to
Yeah,
see
we'll get
everybody.
rid of
Thank you very much. Everybody stay safe.
Okay.
Wayne,
Take care. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. Social-
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Those hands have been all over the place.
That's right.
Put your
They're
hands in your face.
Goodbye.
Bye, you guys.
Okay, good night.
It's been fun.
Vince, are you gonna finish up looking at the newsletter? Vince.
I
He's frozen.
looked at it
He's
this
freezing.
evening and did a little more work. We're devolving into chapter discussion here.
Well, I've got you.
For instance, I'm probably just about out of the newsletter until I get over this eye thing, and I don't know, that might be soon, or when I talk to the office about, what I should expect in the surgery, I said, well, when can I drive again? And the lady wouldn't give me any answer. She said, well, you got to talk to your doctor about that. I said, well, a couple of days. Well, it just depends on how much swelling there is. So apparently, the reaction of different people's bodies is different, and some people bounce right back, or some people have an infection, or so
Right.
I don't know.
Well, take a look at it tomorrow, because I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's got all the content in there. Mike's not going to put anything in. John's had an opportunity to look at it. He's put his part in. Linda, I'm sure she said it looked okay. I think maybe right at the beginning. So I know she's not going to add anything. So basically, and I went through it with a fine tooth comb today, and put Robert's piece in, and went back and looked at it to just see if there was any grammar or spelling things all the way through it. Everything looks good to me at this point. So if you look at it and you give the seal of approval on it, I think it's ready to go on Saturday morning, or at least Friday afternoon, Saturday morning.
I hope I'll be back able to use a computer by Friday. I just don't know. I'll try to look at it tomorrow morning. I did do some editing this afternoon or this evening, maybe after you did, and I rearranged Robert's stuff a little bit. And what I did was what I've done before. When you put a picture in, often it takes the full page with the text below, and I separated it so the picture was a little smaller.
Oh, good. Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
A small picture and a headline with the rest of his stuff below. But then I thought I saw a duplicate of his content at the very end of the message.
You may have. That might have been a boo-boo, but that needs to come out.
And I removed that.
Okay.
So I did those things. And earlier I had changed up a little bit on the, coffee Zoom, coffee in person. And I think you had an evening event, and I may have.
Well, yeah, you got rid of that.
I did, partly because, well, I don't.
That's okay. I mean, I didn't care.
Well, we could do it. I just, I didn't know who was going to manage or where it was going to be. So I was trying to simplify things a little bit this first time around August, and sort of alternate to have in person one week and Zoom the next.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
In person the next week and Zoom the next,
Mhm.
and see how that goes. And
Yeah.
then we can try a little more or something different. in
Okay.
January. That was sort of the theory behind what I was doing.
Yeah. Well, that I caught that, and that's fine, and I think that was real good. I think the reason that I had, when I was just trying to put some stuff in,
Right.
just throw something against the wall and see what'll fit. Because there had been, we talked about having an evening tertulia just
Right.
to get some people in there, so that's why I threw that in there. But we can revisit that. But I talked to Mike today, and I did share with him about the Optimus Hall that I sent the information to you about. And
Yeah.
I asked him if he thought that